Hey, welcome back to my channel. My name is Stephanie, and I am here with another word, a word of encouragement. I am going to be reading out of First Samuel, actually just giving you some context. And if you have already read Samuel, then you know the story. In the story, Elkanah is the husband. He has two wives, Penina and Hannah. Penina will always tease Hannah because Hannah was barren. The Lord had shut Hannah's womb and she wasn't able to have any kids or, produce or anything like that. And so Hannah would tease her. Hannah would, do whatever she could do to, disturb her peace because she realized that the husband that she shared with Hannah, that Elkanah loved Hannah more. And so she would just be really mean to Hannah. And, Hannah began to listen to her critic. Hannah was depressed. She wasn't able to eat. And she would cry all the time. Every year, about 3 times a year, Elkanah and his family traveled to offer praise, worship, and do their sacrifice. And every year, Penina would tease her, as they were traveling. And, Hannah would just be so down. She would be so depressed. She would cry. She wouldn't be able to eat. Even though, Elkanah tried to, soothe her and, just kind of smooth things over with her, she was still really depressed because she wanted a child and she was barren. One of the times that they did go to Shiloh, she went and she prayed. And this is when she had an encounter with Jesus. Her countenance changed. She wasn't depressed anymore. She wasn't crying. She wasn't worried about what her critics were saying. And we have to realize that we cannot allow our critics' voice to be louder than God promises. And so that's what, not Penina, but that's what Hannah did. She allowed her critics' voice to be louder than God promises. See, God had already placed her desire to have a child in her heart. And he just needed for Hannah to get into alignment with what he had for her. See, when we murmur and we complain, it doesn't show God that we trust him. It shows God that we are in our emotions, and emotions don't move God. Trust move God. Faith move God. Believing in his word moves him. And so he just needed Hannah to align up to who she is and who he is on the inside of her so she could birth, so she could manifest. And when she went into prayer, God saw the posture of her heart. God saw her sincerity. God saw, okay, now she trusts me. Now I'm going to move. Now I'm going to deliver the promises that, she desired. And when Hannah had the child, she weaned him and, nursed him. And when he was 3 years old, she offered the child back to God. And she had, several children after that. And what happened if we don't align to God promises? We will never be able to birth. We will never be able to manifest, the desires of our heart. Those desires God placed on the inside of us. See, she desired a child. Whatever it is that you desire, you have to get into position to receive it. You have to trust God. You have to believe in him. And you have to, our posture should be a posture of, trusting God and believing in him. But sometimes when we don't see things and things are not happening fast enough for us, we begin to, not trust God. We begin to murmur. We begin to complain. We begin to cry like Hannah was doing because Hannah was so, emotional about her not being able to have a child. And I'm not trying to downplay it because she had to watch his other wife, Penina, have these kids, bear these kids, and, him kind of show her favor because she had the kids. But when Hannah got into position, and that's the key thing, we have to learn how to get into position. We have to align ourselves to what God is, showing us and what it is He wants to do on the inside of us. My spiritual father always say that God knows how long to keep you in, in a situation or a circumstance. What was it that He was trying to get out of Hannah? Hannah didn't trust, the process. She didn't trust that she would have a baby until she got into His presence and she had an encounter with God. And some things won't be delivered to us until we have that encounter with God, until we allow Him to, speak a word over us, until we get up out of prayer in a different posture of believing and of having faith. And so this is just a quick word of encouragement to let you all know to align up to the promises of God. Allow Him to have His way and allow Him to do what it is that He's trying to do on the inside of you. Sometimes we don't look like how, God sees us. When He looked down at Hannah, I'm pretty sure He didn't see Hannah as a whiner or, someone crying in disbelief. He saw Hannah as a woman that can birth. She birthed Samuel, as a matter of fact. And that's what the promise was so big, but she had to get into alignment to receive the promise. And when we get into disbelief, we can't receive it because we so busy murmuring, we complaining, we crying, we saying, why me or whatever. And, we're going through all our emotions. But God is saying, get into position. Get into a posture where you can trust me. Get into a posture where I can deliver, where I can, manifest, because I place those desires in your heart. And all I need you to do is align up to how I see you and what I have for you. And so be encouraged. Know that God got you. He see, everything, and He's working. He's working behind the scenes. He's working on your behalf. Don't get out of position. Don't stop believing, and align to the promises that God placed in your heart. Even if you, went through a traumatic season and you stop believing, believe again. Get into a posture of trust. Show God your faith and allow Him to deliver the promises. What would have happened if Hannah never got into position? What would have happened if she never trusted the promise? What would have happened if she never would have trusted the process to get to the promise? And so trust the process. Go through the process. No, it's not going to feel nice. No, it's not here to, soothe our flesh or whatever. It's going to pinch your flesh. It's going to hurt. You're going to murmur. You're going to complain. But don't stay there long. If you have to cry, let it out, but keep moving. Get into a posture where you say, God, you know what? No matter what, I trust you. No matter what comes, no matter what goes, I trust you. And so this is just a quick word of encouragement. I love you, and God bless you.